welcome to Health, Wellness, Lifestyle TV. I'm your host, Tammy-Lynn. We are not in Canada. We're in a little town called Montreal, Scanzano, where my friends actually live in a castle. I'll tell you the whole story about that later on. But more importantly, I'm here to harvest olives, press them and make olive oil. Olive oil is very healthy. I have a bunch of dishes I'm going to make for you, and this is going to be a show that I think you're going to love almost as much as I love making it for you. I hope you enjoyed the show. My story begins back in Montreal when I traveled with my daughter to train with the women's junior national water polo team. While she trained, I spent my late afternoons as a tourist in one of Canada's oldest and most vibrant cities, a place where my mother's family moved from France in the late 1600s. I've done so much genealogy research on how my family came from Normandy to Montreal, giving me the feeling that this was a place I actually belonged. I've always been fascinated with Quebec, the culture and the history, and in my free time I enjoyed the weather, explored neighborhoods and their local architecture, and visited outdoor concerts. I'm finding that traveling on my own while watching my daughter compete around North America has been really good for me. Okay, so do you believe in divine intervention? Because I totally do. I chose to stay in a local Montreal Airbnb and met the owners a few days later in the restaurant building bar. They were a generous couple who invited me to come upstairs to their mother's unit for a traditional Italian dinner. That's where my friendship starts and this exciting story begins. An evening of fun and laughter, nella casa della loro madre, turned into a very fast friendship. Days of enjoying one another's company turned into an invitation to join them in the fall and harvest olives in their ancestral home in Tuscany. Who could say no to such an experience? During our time together, I learned that the father, Virgilio, and mother, Rosello, left Montreal, Italy in the 50s to build new roots in Canada. Their story mirrors so many other Canadian families on a voyage by ship to a new country for a better life for future generations to come. We were able to research and find out more about the Bisotto family's journey to Canada, with Virgilio arriving first in 1956 and Rosello arriving after, coming on the SS Conte Biancamano Italian ocean liner that brought so many other Italians to Halifax, Canada and Ellis Island. She was a beautiful ocean liner whose design dated back to the Great War and was not retired until the 60s. Their passage took them from Italy to Halifax, Nova Scotia through Pier 21, where they carried on by train to build multiple generations of Italian Canadians. And Italian Canadians they are, with a true connection to their motherland. Okay, so back to my trip. I arrived in Rome, took a 90-minute train ride through Tuscany's lush countryside, and here I am, in beautiful Montreal, standing in front of an authentic castle with rustic plumbing, giant warming fireplaces, lots of giant stone stairs, Gothic architecture, and incredible hospitality. The Bisotto family has been in this area for hundreds and hundreds of years, and through the years, Federico has made it his mission to not only preserve his family's roots in this tiny community, but to contribute and make it flourish the very best he can. The castle is the main palace of the village, with a sanctuary dating back to the Middle Ages dedicated to St. George, who, according to legend, defeated a dragon. The legend goes that the dragon originally extorted tribute from the villagers. When they ran out of livestock and trinkets for the dragon, they started giving up human tribute once a year. This was acceptable to the village until the princess was chosen as an offering. St. George then rescues the princess and kills the dragon, with everybody living happily ever after. We visited the hillside where the sanctuary of St. Giorgio is located and dedicated to him, a small stone building at the top of a hill with a dilapidated rocky road to get there. It has a single room overlooking the beautiful landscape of the village, and I can tell you that the view was truly breathtaking. So I'm here on a mission to harvest olives, make olive oil, and cook great food. I was excited and anxious to get to work in the olive grove as soon as I could. I literally have been working out with a trainer for months in anticipation of being able to pull my own weight and keep up with the harvest, and it truly was really hard work. With Federico using as many local resources as he can, it was a natural choice to have a local family business prepare and press for harvest. After a long day at the grove, we anxiously waited for our 600 kilos of fresh olives to go to press. Seeing our olives producing this beautiful shade of yellow-green oil was liberating. This was now liquid gold, and anyone that I might share the olive oil back with at home would know exactly how lucky they were. We spent hours chatting with the owners of the press factory who had been producing olive oil for generations. Though I didn't understand a word of Italian, I could feel the passion for their love of their work and how animated they spoke, along with their warm generosity in making me feel as welcome as they possibly could. Big hugs, goodbye, and lots of thanks from us. We made our way back to the castle for a simple night of charcuterie and olive oil. Tomorrow, more harvesting from Frederico while I take advantage of exploring the local markets, getting some great produce, and back to the farmhouse kitchen to make everyone a delicious dinner using, guess what? Our olive oil, of course. I can't wait for tomorrow to start. Well, we can't do a trip to Italy without cooking some amazing food. And we've gone through castles, through beautiful villages. We've gone through groves, pressed olives, have some amazing olive oil on hand. And our final result is this jewel of olive oil. And my goal today is to create 3 dishes from an appetizer right through to dessert, and they all contain olive oil. So I've got my salad ready, which is a typical burrata. We'll have that in a minute. I've got a dip that I made as well that encompasses a ton of olive oil. But I'm gonna show you the main dish, which is a simple, easy dish. No creams, no sauces. The dish is centered around olive oil. So we're gonna put in a healthy half cup of olive oil. I'm gonna use a lot of garlic in this dish. So I've put together about 4 cloves. We'll start with 3, get that going. Nice semi-high heat. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but I am working in the farmhouse and it has a beautiful kitchen. I thought, you know what, if we want to be authentic, we are a stone's throw away from the olive grove. And I grabbed a bunch of the olive oil that we had on hand. I'm gonna put some leeks in here as well, my favorite. When you're using olive oil and you're wanting to get some flavors on top of it, simple ingredients like garlic, chives, leeks are super awesome. You can see here I'm just trying to get some color on those. We'll add a pinch of salt on that. We're also gonna use, the only spice that I'm actually gonna use today, aside from salt and pepper, is some chili peppers. And actually all my dishes today contain chiles. It's not because one of the owners is Mexican, I promise you. It's because everything that goes in these dishes gets, when you have a nice sour or a sweet, it's amazing how chili peppers can really amplify those flavors and balance them nicely as well. So we'll get that going. I've also got some local tomatoes. And you know, when I arrived in Rome the other day, I had a burrata salad. And I don't know what it is about Italian tomatoes, but they are fantastic. These ones are sweet and they're firm, not too citrusy. And so they'll hold up very nicely against the heat as well. Now I'm also going to add some olives as well that have been pickled or brined. We'll just add a few of those. I'm going to also add a few capers as well, which is why I'm not going to put too much salt in this dish, because a lot of the ingredients, including finishing it off with Parmesan cheese, has quite a bit of salt in it. So put a few capers in there as well. And as that's cooking, get it to a nice high heat, we're gonna add clams. And I'll put some white wine in with that. Now, you know what they say when you're cooking with wine? You should always pair the wine with
a drinkable wine. So this is a local wine that I'm using. I figured the chef, after a long day of working in the kitchen, deserves a little bit of wine. So we'll top about a good half, 3/4 cup of wine in that. Cheers, chin chin. The wine is going to come to a boil, and that's gonna help us steam open the clams. So let me just get that going. The clams, I've had them soaking for a couple of hours in a heavily salted water, and that helps the clams spit out any of the sand that's in them as well. So they're nice and clean. And I'm going to add some chives as well. About a 1/4 cup of chives. You know what would be really good in here as well? Cilantro would be really good also too. So we're gonna bring that to a boil. Not worrying about them cooking at this point because they will cook through once I add the clams inside as well. Okay. In the clams go. They are beautiful and fresh. We are so close to the ocean. Perfect. Get those going on a high heat. I don't have a lid for this clearly old antique pot. I'm just going to cover it with my frying pan. Now I've already got my fettuccine cooked and ready to go. It required me to cook it for 7 minutes. I cooked it for 5, so it's slightly underdone. And that way, when I toss it in with the sauce and the clams, it'll finish cooking off at that point as well. So we're gonna give this a good probably 5 minutes and then toss everything together. Super simple. So while we're waiting for this to finish up, I did a couple of really fun appetizers. One that I'd never tried before, but I looked up recipes with olive oil. And this one is capers and Parmesan cheese, rosemary, fresh from the garden, thyme. What else is in there? Did I say garlic? Tons and tons of garlic. I have the full recipe on the screen right now. We finished this one off with about a 1/2 cup of olive oil, and that one gets spread on top of fresh baguettes, which we have outside. So that's one dish that we will consume at dinner. Then another thing I put together was very Italian, very typical, but I loved it because it contains tons of olive oil, and that is a caprese salad, which has buffalo mozzarella. It is something that we get in Canada, but I promise you it's not nearly as fresh and delicious as this. It's super creamy. That's gonna go in here. I did basil and garlic, salt and pepper. Instead of vinegar, I used some lemon juice, and we'll toss the tomatoes and the basil, extra fresh basil in there. And that's gonna be the salad that we're having. And then I have dessert, and that's a surprise, and I'll take that to the table and show you what I did there. It's a dessert that contains olive oil as well. And it's a savory sauce because it has basil, and it has dried mustard and dried onion, some thyme, lemon juice, and a little bit of sugar, and I put some fresh mint as well. That gets tossed and macerated together, and then I toss all of my fruit salad in that. And I took a mascarpone cheese, added a little bit of sugar and lemon rind and lemon juice to that. That'll go on the bottom. I think it's gonna be absolutely amazing. Okay, so the clams are 99% done. What we're gonna do, we'll put the pasta at the bottom. I chose fettuccine noodles today. They hold up nicely. They're very forgiving time-wise. If you slightly undercook them, then you're able to let them sit in the heat and continue cooking while you're doing the rest of your dish. So we're gonna put that on the bottom. Looks beautiful. And then we'll end up pouring everything else on top. If you could smell, it smells so good. How authentic is being on a grove where they grow olives in I can't tell you how old this farmhouse is, and I know I'm gonna put that on the lower thirds, but it's hundreds of years old. This has been in the family forever, and they've restored it and made it whole again and usable, and I just can't tell you how exciting it has been for me to be here. Okay, I think we are ready. I'm gonna take one and just make sure that the clams are fully cooked. I feel like they might need another minute here. But we'll see. They were so fresh. Oh my gosh, actually they're perfect. They're so fresh. The brine that they were in, their natural brine, was extremely salty. I was very, very careful on how much salt I added to this particular dish. We're gonna give it 2 more minutes and go ahead and plate. So there's no time on when clams or mussels are ready. It really comes down to a visual. Have they opened up? Have 75% of them opened up? Because you won't get a full open on all of them. And I feel like they have done their job. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this heat off. Go ahead and pour this on top of the beautiful pasta. Look at that. Beautiful colors. Really, the seafood has done its job, and that's provided all of the flavor that we need. All of the flavor is coming from the shells. And now, I think it's just a matter of taking it out to our friends, thanking them for inviting me all the way out here to their beautiful home in Tuscany, and hopefully they enjoy their meal. I'll meet you outside. Okay, I did it. We're ready. Are you guys hungry?
Yes.
I hope you're hungry. Okay, we're gonna start off with the burrata salad, which of course only you guys know how amazing it is here. So if I can serve that for you. So this is something interesting I've never made before. It is, of course, tons of your olive oil. It has rosemary from your garden. It has capers, thyme, tons of garlic, fresh Parmesan cheese. I macerated it for a long time, make it into a paste, topped it with the olive oil, and that goes on top of bread. So please try this first. And of course, we know burrata cheese in Canada, but we don't appreciate how different it is when it comes from Italy. So this is beautiful burrata cheese.
That's excellent.
There we go, my dear. So cheers to you guys. Thank you so much for inviting me to your property.
Thank you,
and
Tammy.
letting me explore. I never would have come to this part of Tuscany if it wasn't for you guys. And look, this is amazing.
And we appreciate it.
I love you guys. Thank you.
You too.
Okay, the star of the show. Our pasta. Thank you. Let's move everything out of the way here. How fun. Sun is setting. Beautiful Tuscany. So we were talking earlier about the farmhouse. How old is this farmhouse?
So the farmhouse is about 250 years old. This
Yeah.
one here is 150
Yeah.
and was restored about 15 years ago.
Because upstairs you've done a great job in doing like a little suite, almost like an Airbnb that you'll never let anyone Airbnb.
A little loft, yeah.
I mean, you have so many friends and family come out to visit you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see a lot of old farmhouses and houses in Italy, like in ruins. And I think that we in North America are like, why is no one fixing it? But there's a lot of work that goes into
The
preparing this
restoration.
property. I mean, the restoration even in your castle, there's a lot of work that's been done and a lot of work to do. Like when does it ever end?
Don't know if it does.
So while you guys keep eating, I'm going to go ahead and just show you this delicious dessert. You're gonna think I'm crazy, but olive oil is the main show of this dessert. So let me just clear this out of the way so we can get this on camera. So whatever berries, fruit you want. I did pineapple and kiwi, some strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. But this,
What is that?
Yes.
it's savory. This is the star of the show. Olive oil again on your fruit dessert. Lots of olive oil, chili peppers, basil, mint, mustard, salt, lemon juice, maybe some thyme. It's all again on the bottom, lower third. You'll see it there. I was just,
Nice.
I was shocked to put, and then it's macerated together, and I've been letting it sit for a while. And you toss your salad with this dressing. Again, olive oil being the star. I'm gonna put, because it's such a large salad, I'll put a little bit more olive oil in it. Toss that up. And then I found this local berry as well
Nice. Very
on the
nice.
plate.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna finish the bottom part with some mascarpone, and I added some lemon rind and lemon juice and a little bit of sugar to sweeten up the cheese. And you know, I've actually made salads with olive oil and oils before. It's amazing how oil sits so nicely with a dessert. Okay, so we'll take the mascarpone and we'll put a little bit on each plate. I do the chef schmear on each one and finish it with, I mean, look how absolutely beautiful that is,
It's really beautiful.
right? And I know you're still eating your dinner, but do me a favor, just take a little taste and tell me if you think that that is something you would enjoy. Okay.
You know,
I'm
with the
go-
mascarpone,
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
I said great.
Well, that was a last minute thing. I thought, you know what, a little bit of creaminess makes it a true dessert, right? Let's see, that's good.
That's really, really
Okay,
good.
back to your pasta. Stop eating dessert first. Did your mother tell you don't eat dessert
Okay,
first?
okay.
Well,
And we have to go to the red wine.
we've got red wine, we've got Prosecco, the sun's setting. I'm in Tuscany. I cannot think of a better place to be. My friends have made me very happy. It's a time in my life where there's a lot of growth and change. My kids are growing up, my life is changing, and this is exactly what I needed. So, my love, thank you so much to both of you
Thank
for
you.
making this a possibility. I hope you enjoy this episode of Health, Wellness, and Lifestyle TV. What an amazing day I've had, amazing week. And I'm gonna say chin chin, right? Cheers.
Tammy, thanks.
Okay, cheers, chin chin.
Thanks, Dan.
Been great.
It's a pleasure to have you.
All the recipes for this evening's edition show, you can go online. I hope you enjoy it. I promise you everything that I've made is definitely worth a try. Enjoy. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Guys, cheers. Well, that's a wrap of this episode of Health, Wellness, and Lifestyle TV. Thank you to Frederico and Jorge for inviting me on this amazing journey here in Tuscany. Please go on our website for all the recipes. The food was amazing. You must try it. And I advise you, if you go to Tuscany or anywhere in Italy when you travel, find a small village. It's worth it. We'll see you again next time. Ciao.